The Shy just began season 2 on Showtime, where it's receiving huge praise from TV critics for its powerful portrayal of gritty life on the south side of Chicago. I'm Zach Laws of Gold Derby, here with Yolonda Ross, who plays Jada, a single mother trying to raise her son the best way she can. So, Yolanda, tell us a bit about some of the problems that Jada is facing this season at home and at work.
Um, I would say with Jada, I don't know if so much a problem, but just an ongoing, part of life as far as she's now a mother without a child at home. So she's dealing with empty nesting. And it's time for her to really find herself again because she's spent all this time taking care of her child and taking care of others all the time. And she's finding herself in a place where it's time to take care of Jada. So that's what she's dealing with this season, kind of finding herself and how to move forward.
Well, I think it's in the first episode this season when she basically, tell us a little bit about how that empty nesting comes about.
Having to cut that cord.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was hard. That was actually really hard. Even though Jacob Lattimore, who plays my son on the show, he wasn't right there. Just hearing his voice on the other side of the intercom and, going through what Jada was going through in that moment where, I mean, he's not just her child. He's really the only person that she's around daily. That is her life. He is her life. So I feel it was just as hard for her to let him go and have to, cut that cord with him so he can grow and fly and become more of a young man that's taking care of his self, his life. She has to do the same. And she has not been in that place in a long time.
Yeah, I remember one of the things we talked a lot about in the first season was how she was trying to prepare him for the real world as best
Yeah.
she could. And and this is a man who's already got a kid of his own, and several, yes, and yet at the same time he's so dependent on his mother. So I mean, it's like on the one hand there's this feeling of wanting to continue to take care of your kid, but at the same time knowing that it's going to hurt him in the long run.
Yeah, it's totally going to hurt him. Because I mean, in that case, it's like she doesn't want her son to be another statistic. Statistic. You don't want your child to be one of those guys that has kids, doesn't take care of them, doesn't really take care of himself, and just kind of loafs off of everyone. Nobody wants that for their child. In this case, she did what she could as a single mother. And in this case, I mean, Emmett is a young man who is very smart. And we can see that he is very, very resourceful and he knows how to take care of himself. But he's gotten into a pattern where he is not, thinking for himself or working for himself or fully applying himself. So in this case, it's a necessity on her part because it's only going to hinder both of them, allowing that to happen.
You mentioned how this season Jada is kind of rediscovering herself and starting to take care of herself a little bit more. I don't know how much you can reveal since the season. I think we've only seen about 3 episodes so far. Yeah. But can you just talk a bit about exploring that side of Jada this year?
I was really excited about exploring that, just her moving forward as a single woman, because let's just say this, we hit probably every situation that you can as far as what single women go through, what single mothers go through. We hit a lot of hot topics, as of for right now. And it's just, we reflect what's going on in the world, and Jada's going to be going through the world on her own right now.
Right. This show, we talked a lot about this last year, reflecting on what's going on in the world. Particularly, I mean, showing us a different side of Chicago. Now, you're a Chicago resident yourself, and so can you talk a bit about how in this second season you guys continue to delve into life in Chicago and showing a different side of Chicago than what is often talked about in the media and the news?
Shows in the news and everything.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I appreciated that we were on the streets a lot this year, and we did shoot in the South Side as well as the West Side, which was closer to our studios. But it also, what I feel we do this season is we get into the different neighborhoods and really show things that go on in the city, just like with this last episode with episode 3, Brandon looking into doing the taste of, I think it's the Taste of Chicago,
right.
Something like that, but showing how food is such a huge part of the city. There's so many amazing restaurants. I can't even get into that, but we do get into things that are going on. Tiffany being a real estate person, Tiffany Boone, whose character Jerica, being a real estate person, we get to see other areas as well.
Yeah, and I mean, you get to see how all these different things affect life in the city. And, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's something. I mean, you mentioned that scene, and another great quality of this show is that that's in the middle of a very serious episode that's all about Ronnie kind of skirting the criminal justice system and essentially getting away with murder.
Vacation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, there's all this kind of stuff layered onto in each episode,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's moments of levity as well in this serious stuff.
Yeah, there. I feel like the kids are my heart, on the show. They are so fun to watch, but also I think it's so interesting to see the children go through heavy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just with Kevin struggling with whether to testify or not, and and he's a grade school kid, and that's something very heavy that you should nobody should ever have to go through, but things happen, so you're put in those positions, and whether to help Brandon or not, that was a huge struggle on his part. One thing out of that episode that really struck me, and it was a quick moment, but seeing the young child in handcuffs that walks through while Kevin and his moms are together, that was really heavy to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of that hit everybody who saw that moment pretty hard.
It did. It was quiet, but it was really heavy. Very heavy.
And I mean, because the show does show how that can get passed on from generation to generation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and again, I mean, it goes back to Jada's struggle with Emmett. And
yes, and we see Emmett's father in this season, and I can't wait for all of that to unfold for you guys. But it's interesting to see the dynamics and to see what he got from each one of us as far as parents, and just how he moves forward, really. And I was particularly excited about going into Jada's backstory with her ex and finding out about their relationship. And it's a classic relationship where you get involved with somebody early and you think it's going to be forever, and it's not. So they have to deal with things as well as ex couples.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, again, you just see how that kind of affects the lives of each generation after that.
Yeah, we do. And just women, women, how it affects women. That's a huge thing. I feel like most of my friends are single, and it's just and this is like this goes back to talking about Emmett, as far as like dealing with, if that's what is out there as far as who to be with or your options, that's not what you want. And that's why, I feel she's very strong about making sure that her son is not somebody like that to the next woman.
Yeah.
She doesn't want him to be what his father was to her.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, the show does, even though it centers ostensibly on four men, there's all these
Yeah, we're there.
strong. You're all there. Yeah. I mean, I did an interview with your co-star recently, Natari, and he said, Ronnie is surrounded by strong women, and
Yep.
every man in the show is surrounded by strong women.
I mean, that's how the world runs. Strong women.
I mean, I think that that having that amount of complex female characters on a show, I mean, I think you really have to credit that up to the top, Lena Waithe, for creating the show.
Definitely. Because I mean, it could be a completely different show, but we are here and we are here strong. And this season, I feel like we came in stronger, more developed, as the groundwork was laid for a season. Now we can get into who these people are, who these women are, what they are about, what their goals are, what their needs are. And you see them in those quiet moments, where they're not with their male, counterparts all the time, because we do, roll in life as individuals.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, just to take it back to that scene with you and Emmett, what makes that so striking is that often, particularly with mothers, we look to them to be to basically capitulate to everything that the man wants them to do.
Yeah, old TV.
Yeah, exactly.
This is new TV. This is how it is. Yeah. I mean, it's reflective of life. We take care of everything all the time, and that is not an overstatement. I don't feel it's an overstatement at all. We are at home, we are in this, at work, we take care of man, woman, child, family, home, and still go work. The last person that really gets the care is the woman the woman herself. So that's something I feel like overall women need to learn to do, is slow down for a minute. If you need to shut down and take care of yourself, because everything's not going to function without you. So we need you.
Yeah. I mean, Jada in particular, her, not only is she a caregiver as a mother, but her job is a caregiver. Yeah. So can you just talk a bit about some of the challenges and complications that she's faced with this season at work as well?
She's in a funny place because, as of like the end of last season, she was supposed to go to Seattle, and that didn't happen due to the the taking of drugs for help, to help Ronnie. But she's in a kind of limbo where she's taking care of Miss Ethel. It's kind of like an in-between thing, since Ronnie's not around and she does need help. She's doing that kind of like side work, but getting paid for it and all, and but still looking for her place, in the workplace. And at some point she's going to have to cut those ties as well, because she can't, stay in that atmosphere with Miss Ethel and Ronnie, forever, because that's not something that's moving forward.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting how, in a sense, it's like, she's got to take care of two different families in the show, like her own and hers.
The family, it is. It's like it's not just a job, but it's personal as well. So I do feel, I feel like she does need to move on and like sever all those old ties and kind of start clean, because she's done it with her new place. She's gotten Emmett out of the house. I think that's going to probably be the last severing that she will have to do.
The show is, I mean, still finding some new fans. You know, I mean, you see
Good.
people, yeah. I mean, what does that mean to you to have people discovering the show now? I mean, obviously, people watched it last season as well, but I feel like people are coming around to it this season and catching up on the first one now. So, talk a bit about that.
I think it's great. I mean, I mean, people like all over the place who have heard of it and maybe haven't watched it yet, or have seen it and then they have to like re-up on it before the second before our second season had dropped. I feel that it's exciting to me to talk about the show because I am excited about the show. I'm excited about what we have to say, and it feels good to have something that you are behind as far as the work, as far as the writing, as far as what our show is saying, what it's putting out there in the world. So the more people I can pull in, personally, the happier I am with it. So I'm always telling people about this show. And most times they feel like, I don't know if it's me personally, but they feel like they know me from somewhere. And I ask them, is it this? Is it that? Is it that? So, if The Chi is not one of them, or they've seen a poster but haven't seen the show, it's time to pull them in, because there's so many different ways you can watch it.
Yeah, I always see you on Twitter on Sunday nights. So.
Yeah. Fun. Like being at home with like all your friends and family, and you're just like, we're all commenting at the same time because I'm watching it just like everybody else is. It's not like I know what's happened in these episodes beforehand because we shot them, so long ago. Plus, you don't know what other people did in their scenes, so you read the script once fully, and then it's out of your head.
Yeah, I mean, it's so, it's such an ensemble piece. It's so multi-layered. I mean, you can, must be surprising at times too, to watch these things.
I mean, even things I did, I don't remember always. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the show always sparks a lot of really interesting and important conversations. It's also a lot of fun to watch as well, which is no small feat. Yolanda, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure talking with you again.
Bye.
Bye. And thanks to all of you at home for watching. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button below, and make sure you visit us at goldderby.com for all the latest award show news and to make your predictions for the Emmys.